Shalom, Israel. We're going into Second Maccabees chapter 6, verse 1. See, going back to chapter 5, it says Judas, Maccabees, and 9 others, or thereabout, withdrew himself into the wilderness and lived in the mountains after the manner of beasts with his company, who fed on herbs continually, lest they should be partakers of the pollution. So they fled. Judas, Maccabees, and 9 others just fled out there, away from all that carnage that's going on here. So Second Maccabees chapter 6, verse 1. It says, not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God. So they want to get us away from our laws, statutes, and commandments, to not keep the laws of the Most High, what the Most High gave us. So as if we don't have to keep the laws. Verse 2, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius, and that in Gazarim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwell in the place. So they want to call us, call it the temple of Jupiter instead of the Most High temple. Keep away from the law, statute, of commandments, and everything like that. Like we read earlier in Judith, that if you sin against, let's see, Judith. Judith 11 and 10. It's unless you sin against the Most High, they can come up against us. So they wanted us to get away from the law, statute, the commandments. So right now we're trying to get back into the law, statute, and the commandments of the Most High. They want to teach us, Sunday church and all these pagan holidays, and so on and so forth. Second Judith 11 and 10 again. Judith 11 and 10, that's the bottom part. Neither can the sword prevail against them except they sin against their God. So they want to deliberately come us in that we sin against the Most High, depart from the laws, statute, and commandment. So they're trying to entice us not to keep the laws of the Most High, and call it the temple of Jupiter Olympus. All kind of wickedness. Second Maccabees 6 verse 3. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. So, this is disheartening to us, when they call it all this, the temple of the Most High, hedonistic ways and so on and so forth. Verse 4. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles. So all kind of stuff going on. Who dallied with harlots and had to do with woman within the circuit of the holy place. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful, all kind of unclean things and all kind of wickedness they're bringing into the temple. He said, so anything that's not lawful, you can imagine what they're bringing into the temple of the Most High. The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. When you're reading what the Most High, the law said, the sacrifices, the clean animals, and a certain way to do things, all kind of unclean and profane things were in there. Because the Most High put out specific that for Moses to tell Aaron how old the sacrifice should be, and a certain way and certain measure and certain things. But it was just like lawlessness, all kind of profane things. I can imagine, unclean animals and all of that stuff. Verse 6, neither was it lawful for men to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts, like Day of Atonement, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. Like I even think in this day and age, in this time now, about the Sabbath, when talk about the Sabbath day, oh no, the Sabbath is Sunday. It's not, the Sabbath. This is like a new thing, the Sabbath day, Sunday, and all these things that they say, oh, Christ nailed that to the cross. So for verse 6, that's when we read Matthew 5. They like to say that Christ nailed all this stuff to the cross. So we can just live lawless and all kind of wickednesses go along. All lot of homosexuality in the church and female pastors. And, it's like anything goes. They have the Bible, but it's like, anything goes. They have all kind of books for you to read. But when it comes to the Bible, it's like, oh, we can read one verse, and then the pastor going to his own words. And it's like a sing and dance. Bring up the dancers in front and the musicians and the choirs. And it's like, wow, this is all the fanfare. It's like, it becomes like theatrical, like Disney World. So when you read Matthew 5 and 17, it says, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Fulfill. That means he's come to do it. And they forget to read further down. Let me read it. To do.
You said do it.
Yeah, come.
Like you said, it was saying so for Christians when you're like,
exactly. Come to fulfill. Yeah. Yeah. Come to fulfill, come to do it.
No, is that what you're saying?
No. No, because they didn't come to read further down. It says, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Verse 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. They forgot to read further down. So Matthew 5:17 to 19. So a lot of times, you come and say, what about this law and that law? They're like, what are you talking about? Sunday Sabbath and Easter, Thanksgiving and Christmas. They want to keep, they want to have their own little stuff, their own little thing that they get together and they do. But they have the Bible, but they're not rightly dividing the word. Ah, 2 Timothy 2:15. I was going to read one scripture.
Ever had a question with you?
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Kahan.
Right. So
Nabia.
what you said was on point, but still to fulfill. You said it already, I'm just not sure. But what are these trying to fulfill? What we keep on file?
He come to fulfill the laws that's written about him. He come to fulfill, come to do the laws and to fulfill what was written about him, that he should come.
Right. The second part, you want to hone in on that. Because that's what he came to fulfill. It wasn't so much, okay, he's going to come and be righteous. But no, it was the prophecy that was happening before.
Yeah, all the prophecies, fulfilled when you read everything. It says is surrounding Christ.
So, like, for example, for folks who may not know, like, say you'll be born in Bethlehem. Say you'll be called out of Egypt, right? Parents will flee there for help. Herod tried to kill the firstborn. You will ride into Jerusalem on a donkey, etc. and so forth. These things were prophecies written aforetime about him. He came to fulfill those things. And you know the verse that tells us that. Everything you brought out, but after that was fine. It's just the fulfills that just seem kind of, it still was kind of up open. What does that mean?
Yeah, the prophecies that were written about him and how he was going to come into the world.
Now, if I may, I just want to read Luke 24 and 44. The verse that shows you what the fulfill is. Luke 24 and 44. It says, and he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you. This is Christ talking to the disciples after he died and rose again. These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. So the fulfill part is answered right there.
Yeah, that's Luke 24:44. Which were written in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning me, concerning the Christ, and how he should be born and how he's going to come to present himself to Israel. So let's read 2 Timothy 2:15. It says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Rightly going into the Bible and breaking it down correctly according to the Most High, breaking it down. Not according to all these volumes of books and false doctrine, but according to the Bible itself. Because, you know, you need the Bible, a concordance, and a Bible dictionary, and it helps you to break down the scriptures. Because the Bible is that number one book sold every year. And there's so many books concerning the scriptures. It's like, let's go right to the scripture and read it and breaking down how the Most High show it to Israel. Psalms 147. Psalm 147 and 19. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. That's Psalms 147, verse 19 to 20. So, so these other nations and people who know that once we keep the law, statute, commandments, and the Most High, they can't come up against us. But now here, they want us to, verse 6, neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days or ancient fast or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. Like right now, oh, the Sabbath day is Sunday, and we're all Christians, and all these feast days and all of that stuff. No, 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 we're not into all of that stuff. We're all Christians now. So, and everybody's a Christian, and it's laughter and it's celebration in the church, and no nationality, no holy days, nothing. So it's just there. You read a verse, you read a psalm, and you clap and sing songs, and you do all kind of entertainment in the church.
I wanted to add that average so-called Christian doesn't know any of the word Christian. Christian means Christ. They were like Christ, they would follow. They wouldn't do it because that's where they get that's where they foundation for the scripture should come from. Follow after Christ. Shouldn't that be?
Yes, the true follower of Christ. Last like when I went, earlier, I read about the true worshipers. Yeah, for the Most High seeks that, the true worshipers. John 4:23. So when these other nations, pick up the Bible and try to break it down according to how they see, and have all kind of volumes of books and everything, trying to break down when you go in a certain bookstore, you have the Bible and you have a whole lot of books talking about the Bible, and they break down of it, the Bible, and what they think, and the certain volumes of books breaking down this and that, and they off. As like John 4:23 said, ye worship you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. John 4:22. So they worshiping all this stuff, and they don't realize that they're not, doing what the Most High commanded us to do. But here now, they want us to keep us away from it. and not even profess ourselves to be a Jew, not even profess ourselves to be an Israelite. We're like probably all Greek, going the Greek way, you know? Anything goes. Verse 7, 2 Maccabees 6, verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the fast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. So they have thing, but the Greeks, when you see the Greek, they have these, ivy hat things around their head and doing all their little celebration, the Greek way. The fast of Bacchus, all kind of paganism. Sometimes when they see certain things, when they go to YouTube and certain these heathen doing all kind of pagan rituals and pagan holidays, celebrating the king's birth every month instead of we celebrating the new moon and the feast days and the high holy day. They want to celebrate the king's birthday and celebrate Bacchus, the fast of Bacchus, and all kind of wickedness. Like anything goes. Verse 8. Moreover, they went out to decree to the neighboring cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. So they went out that decree just to go out there and even now you have certain Sunday churches going out there when he come to certain holidays, pagan holidays here, they go out there and pushing that vibration and that spirit of these pagan Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving and all that stuff and push it out there and advertise it and selling these things. So when you go into these stores, you see the whole store filled with Easter stuff and Christmas stuff and and have people trying to seduce our people to do these things. And sometimes you drive to the neighborhood and you see our people, it's the Christmas decoration and Easter and all these things. It's like, wait a minute, it just irks your spirit, those who know the truth and understand this. But here they're pushing it. They push out a decree, a written decree, and just push it out there. Verse 9, and whoso would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death. So it's like, if you don't do this thing with us, you're gonna be put to death. So some of our people like, okay, they celebrating Bacchus and they putting Bacchus stuff and the ivy and all of that stuff up, then might a man have seen the present misery. So it's very miserable, I mean, we as Israelite keeping the law, such a commandment to the best of our ability and everything, all of a sudden they put this decree out there and say if you don't do it, you're gonna be put to death. And it would just irk our spirits. For verse 10, for there were two women brought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led round about the city, the babes hanging at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall. So this woman decided to have the male circumcised and they cast on the children. These were like, nursing, boy babies on breast milk, they cast them down. So it's like, for them to do this, right? They do this openly. So when others see this, they become afraid. It's like, wow, maybe we should celebrate the fast of Bacchus and all these pagan stuff too. And it's like you put a thread out there, Verse 11. And others that had run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly. So some of us like want to go into the caves and trying to, let's keep the Sabbath day, let's go to caves and keep it. Being discovered by Philip, were all burnt together. So this news go out saying that trying to keep the Sabbath day, trying to circumcise our children, and they will, put us to death because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. So in those who want to keep the Sabbath day, they burnt them together. So it put fear in a lot of other Israelites. Now at verse 12, now I beseech those that, verse 11.
First Maccabees 1 and 53. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 53. First Maccabees 1:53, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for support.
So, by going into caves, you're coming away from all the fanfare and all the wickedness that's going on out there, but they hunt us down. Like this verse 2. Lamentations 4 and 18. Lamentations 4 and 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. So when they run into the caves, they hunt them down. They hunt us down in there, trying to keep the Sabbath day what we want to be away from. They hunt us down. Verse 12. Now I beseech those that read this book that they be not discouraged for these calamities. So these are historical stuff and tell us this information that we not get discouraged because when the heathen do this evil towards us, it's very bad. But that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction. It's punishment, but not for this to destroy us, but for a chastening of our nation. So the Most High is raising up these nations against us. So it's just a punishment against us. It's a chastening, a whipping stick for our backside, chastening our nation. Verse 13. For it is a token of his great goodness, when wicked doers are not suffered any longer, but for with punishment. So when the wicked, when they don't get punished, right away when they do these things and they rise. Try to get one scripture. Proverbs 28. Proverbs 28 and 28. Verse 13. Verse Proverbs 28, 28. When the wicked rise, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. So the wicked is rising among, you know, and doing all this wickedness against us, and we go into, hide into caves and things like that. But when the wicked, no, when they perish now, then the righteous increase. Like in Job 9:24, it said the wicked, like out there, the wicked is just going out there doing all kind of wicked stuff out there. But when we see them perish now, then Israel start to rise, Verse 14. For not as with other nations, whom the Lord patiently forbear to punish, till they be come to the fullness of their sin, so dealt he with us. So sometimes you look at the other nation, it's like they're doing all kind of stuff and they're doing all kind of stuff to us and things like that. And like, what about them, What about those nations doing all that stuff? And the Most High is punishing us, rising up the nation against us, but they can't destroy us. But the Most High is gonna eventually, cut them down, cut down those nations and make Israel rise up. Like the Most High said, the sin in Revelation 18 and 5. Now, verse 14 is Revelation 18 and 5. Could you read that, Daniel? Yeah, please.
Revelations 18 and verse 5. For her sins have reached into heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities.
Okay. So it says, Revelation 18 and 5, it says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and God had remembered her iniquities. So they're gonna sin, and the Most High say is gonna just reach up there, then he's gonna just cut them down. Yeah, when the Most High, when they, because it's like, what about the other nation? Look what they're doing, like the Most High say, you only have I known, therefore I punish you for your iniquities in Amos. But these nations are doing all kind of stuff. We wonder about them, like, wow, they rising up and doing all kind of stuff they're doing. Is like, but the Most High say in the Revelation, they sin have reached up to heaven, and then he's gonna cut them down. Verse 15, lest that being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us. So we sin against the Most High punish us. and then we come back into the Most High grace, and we go off again. I mean, the Most High keep punishing us. But the Most High say, come to a point, we're not gonna. Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel 20 and 14. Ezekiel 20 and 14. But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. So the Most High, not gonna have a, pollute his name. That he's gonna give us that, that new covenant when you read Hebrews 8 and 8. So we're not gonna, because the other nations, sometimes the nation read about Israel keeping the Most High's law, a statute of commandments, then we go off, and the Most High punish us, and then we come back in the Most High grace again, and keeping His law, statute, and then we go off again, and keep doing it on and on and on. So the Most High say, not gonna make His, pollute His name before the heathens. After a point in time, he's just gonna give it, make the law, statute, and the commandments in us, so we can just keep it, because He's not gonna let us pollute His name. Verse 15, lest that being come to the height of sin, afterwards He should take vengeance on us. Verse 16, and therefore He never withdraweth His mercy from us, and through He punished with adversity, yet doth He never forsake His people. So, although He punish us, He will never forsake Israel.
What's that verse you said you?
Yeah, Amos 3 and 2.
I'm not sure if I used the verse.
Yeah, that's Amos 3 and 2. Or like what for verse 16. I'm trying to get it quickly. Ah, Psalms 27, verse 10. It says Psalms 27 and 10.
Place with 16.
Yeah. It says, when my father and mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. I wanted another one. Hebrews.
Psalm 94:14.
Psalms 94:14. Let me get that one. Psalms 94 verse. Oh yeah. Yeah, read it for me, please.
Psalms 94, verse 14. For the Lord will not cast off his people, neither will he forsake his inheritance.
So the Most High will never forsake Israel. Like in like a lot of times when you read in the churches, Romans 11. Romans 11 and 1. Romans 11 and 1. I say then, had God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So people say, you know, maybe God had cast away, you know, Israel, and we're all Christians now. We all can be saved. We're all Christians. There's no more none of that. It says, God forbid. Verse 2, God had not cast away his people whom he foreknew, what the scripture said unto Elias, had how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying. So God has not cast away his people. Romans 11, 1 and 2. Kahan Nabia?
1 Samuel chapter 12, verse 22.
1 Samuel.
First Samuel chapter 12, verse 22. For Yahweh will not forsake his people for his great name's sake, because it hath pleased Yahweh to make you his people.
And the Most High is not going to forsake Israel, because it's going all the way back to Genesis. Or the Most High promised Abraham. So, you know, people saying that, oh, you know, if you want to talk about Israel, I mean, everybody's grafted onto Israel, you know? Everybody's grafted on, everybody can be saved, well, we're all one people now. But not so. The Most High still love Israel. Like Psalm 73 and 1. Truly, God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. So, Psalm 73 and 1. Not the so-called Jewish people that in Israel now that learn some of our language and try to speak Hebrew, but they speak in Yiddish, that European language mixed up with Hebrew, and they try to speak that. So they convince a lot of people that as if they're the chosen people, but they're not the chosen people. Hmm? Yeah, they're over there, you know, doing all kind of stuff, and like some people, like I listen to this brother saying they doing all kind of voodoo and all that stuff, and trying to convince the people, you know, pulling all kind of strings and making it look as if they're God's chosen people, where they are not. I sent them not, right? On the Revelation 2 and 9. I just want to read that quickly. Revelation 3 and 9. Yeah, put 3 and 9 instead. Revelation 3 and 9, it says, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet and to know that I have loved thee. That they're liars, but it convinced a lot of people. And even back in the days, I believe that a lot of people believe back in the days, and even still believe now, as if they're God's chosen people. But they do lie. They do a good story, and they do a good convincing to a lot of our people. So, like verse 16 again, and therefore he never withdraweth his mercy from us, and though he punished with adversity, yet doth he never forsake his people. Verse 17. But let this that we had spoken be for a warning unto us, and now will we come to the declaring of the matter in a few words. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. So he says, like, I'm not gonna eat swine's flesh. No way. Like the worst thing of the worst thing. When we just read it about clean and unclean food. And we, like swine's flesh, like, our brother would say, you eat, you eat, what is it? You are what you eats. So it's like what they eat, what these animals are eating. And swine they're made for the purpose of eating garbage. That's their job. And even in this country, back in the 1800s, they used to have the pigs that's running around in like DC and that's eating all the garbage in the streets. People throw their garbage in the street and they be eating all that garbage here. Then afterwards, then other things start coming on, maybe rats or whatever. That's their job to do that. That's what they're made to do that. They can eat that stuff. So it's like, he's not going to eat this thing, swine's flesh. Verse 19, but he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live strained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came out and came of his own according to the torment. He said, I'm not going to eat this. He said, spit it out. Because people look at him as like he's a scribe, an aged man, and his well-favored countenance and everything. People looking, you'd be surprised that, we look to our, elders, and we look to our elders to teach us the laws, the commandments, and everything. And we look to them as like, wow, the elders is going off. And that seduces a lot of our people. So he said he rather die than eat that swine flesh. Let me get one verse. Isaiah 66 and 17. Isaiah 66 verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, said the Lord. So he's not gonna eat the swine flesh. The hell with that. So he just went to the spit it out and went to the torment, just like that. Verse 20, as it behooved them to come that are Kahanabia,
You said he spit it out.
spit it forth. That's what you have. Verse 19.
Oh yeah. I'm not. I was just. I was gonna say something else. Yeah. It's like the people call it common sense, but they'll say, "Oh yeah, people talk about they don't eat pork, they don't eat this." I tell you what, you know, yeah, I was starving. I was starving. That enough to eat, on an hour or something. You better believe, I crack open that pig. This is for someone that doesn't care one way or the other. But so respect that people don't want to eat, that. Yeah, if I'm starving, you know, best believe I'm gonna cut that pig off. Eat that. They don't realize what the Most High can do. We've done before for our forefathers when we were down there. Angels can come and bring food. This is easy. If you're on the run, it comes down to it. Even when they were, their backs against the wall, they weren't compelled even to eat unclean stuff. Even John the Baptist being away from civilization in the wilderness, he still dealt lawfully. He ate the locusts, the wild honey. Right? Even him. He didn't eat unclean food because he was far away from cities and towns. He was out in the wilderness. He still ate lawfully. That's not an excuse.
Yeah, go eat berries and things like that. Vegetation. You'd be surprised what's out there. You'd be surprised what little fruits and everything you can eat out there. And if you get stuck out in the wilderness out there, you're just like, wow, I gotta eat some fruits. Live off the land. Go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say in that beginning scene of Book of Eli, I shook my head.
Oh, the mouse.
I think it was a cat.
Oh, the cat. Oh, cat.
It was like a hungry cat.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, yeah. Yeah. We walk by faith, but not by sight, right? But when he started about, it comes out to the Bible, it's like, but he's studying every day, he's reading it, reading it, and then he ate that. So, oh boy. Verse 20, as it behooves them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. So, trying to save your life, because of that, you can lose it, Verse 21, but they that had the charge of that wicked feast for the old acquaintance, they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use. So bringing clean meat, right? And make as if he did eat of the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king. So, well, you don't have to eat the swine's flesh. We could bring, beef for you to eat or chicken, just to show the people like, yeah, I can eat it. But this is what the Most High says. For verse 21. First Thessalonians 5:22. It says First Thessalonians 5:22. It says, abstain from all appearance of evil. Because this would be an evil thing. It's saying that, yeah, he's eating beef, but it appeared to be eating swine's flesh. So avoid the appearance of evil, because it would be a, evil thing. You say, wow, he's a Eleazar is one of the principal scribes and the aged man of well favored and everything. He's eating swine's flesh. Maybe we can eat it too. But is that seducing spirit, to show that appearance of evil and to make it look as if it's good? To avoid that appearance of evil. Verse 22, that in so doing he might be delivered from debt, and for the old friendship with them find favor. So it's that, we're not gonna kill you. We could give you beef to eat. According to the people might see, think it's swine's flesh, but we're giving you beef to eat. See, I'm eating it. And people see like, wow, Eleazar, he's eating swine's flesh. But according to him, what he's doing is eating clean meat. But is that the appearance of evil? And sometimes a lot of our people see these evil things that people doing, and they, you know, it seems as if they doing it and they're doing all kind of voodoo and all kind of and deceiving the people, with smokes and mirrors and CGI. It's like, wow, and other people see it too. Wow, he's getting all his tattoos and everything and all doing all this. Wow, he's doing that. Maybe I can get it done too. And you're all filled with tattoos and all kind of stuff and shaving the beard or and cleaning shaving your head and going to church on Sundays. All the celebrities up there doing it. It may seem as if it's good, but it's evil. Verse 23. But he began to consider this discreetly, and as became his age and the excellency of his ancient years and the honor of his gray head, whereon was come, and his most honest education from a child, or or rather the holy law made and given by God. Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straightway to send him to the grave. So he'd rather go to the grave, he'd rather die than do this. Because the Most High's mercy. But these people, some people, you know, some people in this day and age and everything, they say, yeah, I'll do it, no problem, I'll do it. But he'd rather go to the grave. He'd rather have them kill him than he do something like this. Because from a child, he's been in the law, statute, and the commandment, and he's respected and everything. He said he'd rather go to the grave to keep the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High. And in this age and time, we should endure to the end. Verse 23. Get it quickly. If I say it quickly, now we're going to pull it up. He that endured unto the end shall be saved. What you got, behind?
Proverbs 16:31.
Proverbs 16:31. Yeah, go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 16, verse 31. A hoary head is a crown of glory, if it be found in the way of righteousness. That's heavy because today we just want to get that respect because they're old. Right? From a righteous standpoint, not just okay, I'm older than you. Okay, that's part of it, but the other side of it is what we just read. It could be found in the way of righteousness. We have plenty of elder people in Israel that aren't feeling righteous.
There's doing all kind of wild stuff out there. And it's like, aren't you supposed to know better? Don't you have children? You know, you're 60 years old, 70 years old, you carry on like you like running the streets, you know? Isn't that Pops down the road? I know his kids are grown, you know? He got grandkids and he act like, out there like that. It's like, you should know better than that.
Or even like old, what society would call respect.
Yeah,
Some people I don't call religion.
that's it. That's the main thing.
We got old actors, right? Old performers, all moving
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they say, yeah, give him his credit due. Not give him credit. Give them respect because they've done a lot while they're very crafty. None the wiser when it comes to the law. So give them respect.
But that's keeping the law is like it seemed like it's foreign, Like in Matthew 24:13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. To the end of your life, right, on this earth, or Christ coming back in your lifetime. Endure. So you'd rather die than do this wickedness.
Oh, Hebrews 4:12.
Hebrews.
Hebrews 12:4.
Hebrews 12. Yeah, what is that?
Hebrews 12:4. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin.
So we're not in that situation that we as Hebrew Israelites and they killing us out in the street just because we're keeping the law, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High. We're not in that situation, right? For verse 24, for it becometh not our age, said he, in any wise to dissemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being fourscore years old and 10, 70 years old, were now gone to a strange religion, coming away from the law, statute, commandment, doing some strange stuff. Huh? Oh, fourscore. Oh, three scores and 10 is 70. 90 years old. Wow. He's 90 years old and sharp in mind, right? He's 90 years old and sharp.
be like Israel,
Yeah.
50 and 60. That's how he looked. His spiritual body was intact. His
Yeah.
spiritual body was in shape. He's still dealing with that righteousness.
He had that sound mind, you know? Sound mind and body. Verse 25. And so they, through mine hypocrisy, and desire to live a little time and a moment longer, should be deceived by me, and I get a stain to mine own age, mine old age, and make it abominable. So he's like 90 years old. I'm not gonna do all this stuff to stain. Yeah, he lived to 90 years old, keeping the law, statute, commandments at the Most High, and just go off like that. I'm not gonna do that. As someone who's like 90, think about, I've seen a lot of years behind me, and it's few years ahead of me. I'm gonna continue keeping the law, statute, and the commandments to the best of my ability, not to have that stain. You know, like sometimes you see certain kings, yeah, he, he did this and everything, but he didn't do one thing he didn't do. So it's like it's in the record. He didn't take down the groves or whatever. It was like he didn't do that.
He didn't remove the eye.
Yeah, the high places, groves. Like wow. Verse 26. For though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither live, neither alive nor dead. So, punishment from the men, from the people gonna would kill him. You can't escape the Most High in this life or in this spiritual work. You want to keep it, endure it to the end. What can it do? Don't be afraid of who can kill the body, but be afraid of who can kill the soul and body. Right? For verse 26, I can't get that one right away. No, where's that? Is it? No, let me try to find it quickly. Matthew 10:28. Uh, Matthew 10:28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. So what again do to him but kill him? You can't fear these people. Fear the Most High. Verse, did you have a link up or something else? Verse 27. Wherefore now, manfully changing this life, I will show myself such. Hey, Shalom. Verse 27. Wherefore now, manfully changing this life, I will show myself such and one as mine age required. Someone could star 60 line, please? I'm hearing feedback. Verse 28. And leave a notable example to such as be young to die willfully and courageously for the honorable and holy laws, willing to die for these laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment. So he's willing to be tormented and killed for this. you know, so willfully do that. I'm not gonna break this law just because this wicked man want to entice me to do this wickedness. Kahan Abia.
Yeah, verse of Hebrews 10,
For what verse is this?
going back to destroying the soul and
Yeah, I have Matthew 10:28.
body. Hebrews 10, Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 31.
So he has Hebrews 10:31. You can read it?
Hebrews 10 and 31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of a living God.
Yeah, it's a fearful things, and the most I, you doing all kind of wickedness out there and get caught up out there, and the most I get you and start jacking you up, It's a fearful thing. Yeah. It's like he just went to the torment, I'd rather die than do this wickedness. Verse 29. They that led him changing the good, will they bear him a little before into hatred, because the foresaid speeches proceeded as they thought from a desperate mind. Verse 30. But when he was ready to die with stripes, they were gonna flog him, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord that had the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in my body by being beaten, but in soul I'm well content to suffer these things, because I fear him. You fear the Most High, you know, they really suffer these things because you fear the Most High. You don't want to fall into the hands of the Most High.
Something like this is, people look up to right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they went out like a G. This is going out like a G right here, for real. And righteous.
Suffer these things.
Contend up there with the Razzie. He'll come up there.
Because some of our people out there doing all kind of stuff, all kind of wickedness out there, not fearing the Most High. Yeah, because I even thinking about something in Jamaica now. They doing all kind of wicked murderers out there, just killing people. And you have the curfew out there, and you have these gangsters out there making video about the police and all this stuff, as if they don't fear the police or soldiers. They rather go out dying. Because I see even a video I saw, like some dangerous gangs, and they had these trucks, these pickup trucks that's picking up dead Israelite body and throw them in the back of the truck, man. The body just piling up and just dying like that. And they showing their body filled with tattoos and all, showing their guns and everything like that, as if this is something to do. But they're just driving and picking up the bodies and just throwing them in the back of the truck. Verse 31. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of an noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation. So it's an example. He's a righteous brother here, keeping the law, statute, and commandment. He's 90 years old. rather to die than breaking the Most High law, statutes, and the commandment. And it's like being on the cross and one guy, save us, save us, save us, and this and that. I don't want, have mercy upon me, remember me, trying to save me, save me from I want to live, but he said, like, yeah, 90, yeah, you're not eating swine's flesh, but you're eating something lawful, and it's good. But that appearance of evil is a very bad thing and a very seducing spirit. And it's very seductive out there. People do, Israelite doing all kind of vile stuff out there and filming it, and and it's out there, and other Israelites see it, and people see it, and they want to do the same thing too. A woman walking down the street half naked and walking with their chest out, all that stuff. Oh, that's the in thing. That's a new thing, nudity. Until you can eat anything and do anything. Oh, I'm not being punished. What? That's the way of life. That's the Greek way. That's the Roman way, That's the American way. And they make sure they film these things and put it out there so the whole world can see it. Back in the days, certain things like that, you'd have to find some hidden place or something to go see that, But now everything is out there. Satan is just pushing everything out there, pushing everything out there. You can see everything, and people are spending hours watching all kind of wickedness and all kind of vile stuff. Yeah, I could do that too. And the nations are looking at Israel and looking at us and wow, look at these people. All right, these people can't be God's people. Look at them. All that nakedness and all that stuff being out there. But God has not cast away his people. He's going to clean us up. Brothers out there teaching and teaching and teaching. People are waking up to this truth, getting rid of that old way, and to keep the law, statutes, and the commandments. Like Eliezer, he's 90 years old, and he feared the Most High, and we should fear the Most High too. So that's the end of 2 Maccabees chapter 5 and 6. And next Sabbath reading is Ahanabia, Leviticus. We did the unclean food, right? Last time. Leviticus 13 and 14. Yeah. 13, 14. In the law, right? So Psalms 1. Psalms 1 and 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law that he meditate day and night. And when you read the law here, it says the Torah, the Torah, the law, first 5 books of Moses. So, Shalom Israel, keeping the law, statute, and commandment to the best of our ability. Kahan Navi, anything to say? Whoops. So, the closing prayers. Someone get the blinds, Malak. Shalom, Israel. Closing prayers. Barakata Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Netanelawa, Paria, Hakapan, the water, Aman, La, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Yasha Allah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that give to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you. So be it to Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai with Israel. I Madwa, Panya, Jerusalem. Stand and face Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Yahweh. 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 Bahasham. Yahweh Shai. Babakushah. Shammai. Lanawa. Aitha. Yam Yan. Aitha. Shalak. Ma'aka'ala. Wa'ala'ayam. Kazodakiam. La. Shamar Barak. Rapah. Makan. Wahakazayak. Banya. Yasha'ala. Washalat. Lanawa. Rabiam. Kakama. Rabiam. Da'ai. Rabiam. Bayana. Rabiam. Sabalamwat. Rabiam. Amawan. Rabiam. Aqua. Rabiam. Ahabiam. Rabiam. Agana. Rakanaya. Wasalat. Kal. Katayamnawa. Lawarakiam. Yasha'ala. Tamyad. Waiwalam. Basham. Yahawashai. The water. Aman. Yahweh, in the name of Yahawashai, please listen to us right now. Now send Michael and the righteous power angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel, and send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection, and forgive all our sins for the brothers in Israel, always and forever, in the name of Yahweh. Thank you, so be it. The four corner prayers. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahasham,
Ba'asham,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai,
Barak Nawa,
Barak Nawa,
Wea Sha'ala,
Wea Sha'ala,
Wabatistaparium,
Wabatya Safari,
Shamai,
Shema,
Yasharella,
Yasharala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Alahainawa,
Yahweh,
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 Akkad. Shalom, Israel. Stay tight in the truth. Keep the law, statute, commandments of the Most High to the best of your ability. And see you next Sabbath and Bible study. Next week, Tuesday and Friday. Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom, sis. Shalom.